It's this idea that like these maternal instincts are very automatic and flawless, and that a good mom is always going to enjoy motherhood. She's never going to lose her patience. She's never going to feel resentful or overwhelmed. And if you do feel those things, then that means like shame on you.
Welcome to Worthy Mother Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Hardy, a mom of two on a mission to help moms everywhere feel less alone. This is not a parenting podcast. Instead, it's a space for pushing back against societal expectations of perfection and embracing self-compassion in your motherhood journey. Let's get into it. There's this idea out there that motherhood will come naturally for us. You have a baby, mother's intuition kicks in, and bam, you've got it down. And if you don't, then clearly there's something wrong with you. In this episode, therapist Vanessa Spinarsky is joining us to uncover the myth of the natural mother, the impacts this ideology has on us, and how we can move forward with more peace and acceptance. So Vanessa, welcome to Worthy Mother Podcast. I am really excited to get into this one. This is something that we've kind of danced around on the podcast before, but never actually talked specifically about this. So welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited, and I'm very passionate about talking about this topic. It's a fun one for me.
Yeah. Can you just start off by telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a therapist. It's so interesting because when I'm asked this question, I'm like, well, I'm a therapist, I'm a speaker, I'm a mom, I'm a person who is trying to write right now too. So I would categorize myself as a writer, but really my work lives in the intersection of motherhood, identity, nervous system health, and somatics. So somatics, a lot of times people are like, oh, what is that? So somatics is just soma. It just means working more with the body versus like the cognitive mind. And so I have a master's in social work. I'm trained in several nervous system based approaches like EMDR, which stands for, if you're not familiar with that, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a mouthful. So I just usually say EMDR, but basically that's a therapy that is centered around memory reconsolidation. So basically, in simple terms, it helps you heal by updating the emotional meaning that your body holds around past experiences. So it's a really cool modality that I use. And that's a lot of what I do in the therapy room. And then outside of that, I'm also a human, just like a full human. And I always love to introduce myself to even my clients of like, I'm a human too, outside of being a therapist. And the work that I do, I don't do it because I have it all figured out. I actually don't have it all figured out. And that's why I do the work that I do. The real heart of my work, it's messy, it's raw. It's a space where I'm not just showing up as a therapist, but someone who's lived through a lot of crap, grief, rage, shame, identity collapse, all of it. But I found my way to the other side of that, right? And I found purpose and joy and actually a brand new way of living life. And my Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, my bio says therapist wisdom meets human mess. And that is exactly me summed up in a nutshell. I love learning and growing, and I'm constantly evolving. And I also fall apart a lot of the times. And I talk about a lot of that.
Yeah, so I found you on Instagram, and after just watching some of your videos that you post, I was like, I need to talk to her because you really do a great job of showing that full part of yourself, right? Like you come with the therapy wisdom. I love that. Yeah. And then it's also like, oh no, this is like a real mom who's going through it and has gone through it and has these terms to back it up. She can explain what's going on, and it's so relatable and so validating and so helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, I really do try to show the full spectrum. I just don't want people to see the polished and the poetic side of healing. I want the mess. I want you to see it messy, the unfiltered. And usually people will come on social media or Instagram once they've got it all figured out, or once they've completed something and they were successful in it. And I'm like, no, I'm going to take you through the whole thing. And we're going to come with me on the ride.
I'm here for it. So with therapy, what capacity do you work with moms in? Are you working mostly with moms in your practice, or is it just a sector?
You know what? Working with moms has actually been a newer path for me. So I would say I work primarily with women, and a big majority of that is mothers, of course. When I became a mother, of course, I became my heart was towards moms. And then I had, when you go through something, you can empathize with other people in that way. So then I just started advocating for moms, I guess. It just kind of naturally unfolded. But yeah, I work one-on-one. That will always be the anchor for me and probably something I will always do. But I also feel this pull right now to do something bigger. I don't really have a full picture of what that is exactly, but I feel something bigger coming in terms of like other capacities. So I have the Mama Healing Hub. So I co-founded this little virtual therapist led space off of social media. It's a like secure, high touch space where moms get to explore who they are underneath all their rules. So I'm there too. But yeah, it's just like kind of like I'm dabbling right now.
Yes. I love that. I mean, hey,
yeah,
you're doing a lot and you're making a
podcast, this,
difference.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
I would love to just kind of get a foundation of your experience transitioning into motherhood. Like, what was it about that maybe surprised you or that you struggled with more than you thought you would?
Yeah, I love this question because honestly, everything surprised me. And I don't know if that's a common experience for most moms, but for me, like I was rattled. I was rattled like completely overtaken by it. It didn't just change who I was overnight. People say, oh, like it changes you. And like it didn't happen that way. It like dismantled me. It was like slow and it was dreadful and it was like a full body collapse that I had never experienced in my entire life. I thought I was so prepared for motherhood. Like I was like, I'm a therapist. I had worked with kids and parents prior to doing the work that I do now. And so it's like, I know all this stuff. I have the degrees, I have the tools, I teach this stuff. I've been in therapy. Like I got this. Like I got it, right? And then motherhood showed up and I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. No, not ready for this at all. Like it stripped me down completely. And I remember in the thick of my unraveling, because I'm a learner and a seeker, I was like, hey, I need to figure out what the heck is going on with me. Like, what the heck is going on? I don't understand why I'm not getting this. And I remember reading a book and it talked about how motherhood has its own PR team. And I was like, wait a second, what does that even mean? And then I was reading this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. Like it spoke to this idea that there's this massive like public relations campaign selling us on the beauty and reward of motherhood. Like children will take care of you when you're older. Like you'll regret it if you don't have kids. Like this is your life's purpose. Like this is everything that you have been working up to be. And that message literally is and was everywhere growing up. And when I finally got there, like in the actual trenches, I was like, this is not what you told me this was going to be. Like, this is a scam. This is a scam. And like, I don't mean in the act of raising kids, but like, not the people who have like uteruses, like moms, like you and I, but I'm talking about like this capital motherhood, like the institution of motherhood, this performance, this identity that we're handed that is like another job essentially. And so, yeah, I was sold the narrative that it was going to be meaningful and fulfilling. And sometimes, of course, that is. I'm not here to say that that's not, like, that doesn't happen. It does happen. But what shocked me was how off it felt. Like, it just felt like a job with no pay, no days off, no promotions. Nobody was like highlighting me or like, And then when I started to break down, I didn't feel supported and I felt like a failure and I felt like I was inadequate. And I'd look around and be like, hey, she's okay. She's doing all right. And like that girl on social media is just handling it so well. And it was just like, I think that's what surprised me the most, right? It wasn't like the sleep, like the not sleeping or the diapers or the tantrums. It was like the existential crisis that I did not know what would like that was gonna, I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Totally. I've never heard that explained quite like that. Like motherhood has a PR team working for it, but it really is like there are so many messages we all are constantly taking in about what it means to be a mother, what it means to be like existing in motherhood. And it's like this like underlying just message that we get throughout our lives. It's like you may not even ever have thought about it. Like you think about those things. You read about, oh, this is what I can expect for sleep. And maybe it doesn't go the way you expected. But like there's more like preparation you can do. But like when it comes to the actual experience of how you think you are supposed to be in motherhood, it's like that's mostly just like come at us from the world around us. It's not something you're necessarily preparing for. And then it hits you and shock to the system, I think is a good way to explain it.
Yeah, very good way of saying it. And I usually say, like, I talk about this a lot and I won't go too much into it, but I say we signed an invisible contract. right? Like
Yeah.
there was a bunch of small print and disclaimers in that contract, and we didn't even know we were signing it, and we signed it. And those were all the unspoken rules that we experienced, right? The scripts, the self-sacrifice, the perfection, the silence. And like, we signed this thing that we didn't even know we signed. And like, yeah, so I kind of refer to it that way.
When we get told, like, you signed up for this, we're like, well,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
maybe I
didn't.
signed up to change dirty diapers. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
There's things
Yeah.
about this that were not going to be fun, but it's
Yeah.
like, I didn't sign up for all of this. I didn't know that's what I was signing up for.
Exactly. The invisible contract, I call it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to be talking about the myth of the natural mother and how it leads so many moms to feel like we are just failing all the time, or at least not doing good enough at being a mom. What is the myth of the natural mother, and how does it show up in your work with moms?
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like where we just were in conversation, is that like that is the myth of the natural mother, right? It's like deeply embedded into our cultural belief that women become a mom and it instinctively, naturally happens, right? That we're able to like do it without support. We don't need education. Like, we should be able to perform in this way without breaking a sweat. It's this idea that like these maternal instincts are very automatic and flawless, and that a good mom is always going to enjoy motherhood. She's never going to lose her patience. She's never going to feel resentful or overwhelmed. And if you do feel those things, then that means like shame on you. Like, if you do struggle, if you feel disconnected or you're bored or you're angry or you're not fulfilled, then the assumption is, well, something must be wrong with you. And so the myth is kind of sneaky because it doesn't show up like in your face like that. It shows up as a truth. It's like in these baby books, on social media, and movies we watch growing up. And the stories our moms, like even just watching our own moms, right? It's so normalized that we don't even recognize that it's a myth in the first place. We just think it's how motherhood is supposed to be. And so how I've noticed this showing up with the moms that I work with, or like just in general, it's like it's everywhere. Like, it's everywhere. It shows up in the pressure we feel to do it all the time, and hold multiple roles and be 100% in every single role that we carry, not just mom, but if we have a professional life, then we need to hold those roles. Or if we're married and we have a partner, now we need to show up 100% across all these different roles. It shows up in the way that women treat motherhood like a performance, honestly. Like, the more productive we are, the more patient, the more perfect we are, the more successful that we are as mothers. Like, the better we are, the more we get praised for. And then what happens is, the second that we fall short of that, because we all will at some point, like we will all fall short of it because the standard is impossible, we're going to be hit with shame. And then when we're hit with shame, like, we feel like we're broken, we feel so heavy, and we don't know what to do with it. And when we feel shame, we want to get rid of that really quickly, and we want to find a way to fix ourselves. So we start looking for parenting courses, or we sign up for like a retreat, or we look for the next fad that can make us feel better. And if we feel like, if I can just get more regulated, if I could be more gentle, if I could be more efficient, then I can finally become the mom that I'm supposed to be, or that society tells me that I should be, right? Unfortunately, it never gets to the root of the problem. And so that's the issue in itself, is that like, we're never getting to the root of what is actually going on. And we've wrapped our identity around a version of motherhood that was never real in the first place, and it's not sustainable.
Something that's really interesting, and I've heard conversations about this, but I think there's something interesting in here about just how, we're sold this idea that it's going to come naturally. We're going to be able to do it. We don't need outside input because, like, intuition, right? Like, you're just going to be able to do it. But then there's also this other piece, like you said, of like, okay, well, I was supposed to be able to do it. Now I'm not meeting that. Now I need to seek out the information. And I know, like, information overload, that's something we talk about a lot here, is like how there's so many resources. There's so many like, oh, if you just do it this way, you'll get this result, and how misleading and damaging that can be when like that doesn't work. I'm wondering if you have thoughts on just kind of that dichotomy, that like,
it's such a double bind. I mean, it's a double bind that we're stuck in, right? Is like, we're sold this idea it should come naturally, that we should know what we're supposed to do, and then there's overconsumption in all the tools, the support, the language, the regulation of like that we need more. So I'm not going to go into this because it's like, oh, we'll be here forever. But I basically call it like, so something I'm exploring right now, something I'm calling corporate motherhood, right? Where it's like, motherhood is just another job, right? So again, the more you can do, the more efficient that you are, the better you're at it, right? And so there's a system happening outside of us and we don't even recognize that it's happening. It's a system that dominator cultures are feeding off of us.
Yeah.
As women. And so, yeah, the more overwhelmed we are, the more that we're stretched thin, the more we stay in survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, we can't wake up long enough to actually see what is happening outside of us.
Yeah. I mean, I just, it's like how validating it is to hear though, that it's like, oh, this isn't just me. Like it's very much not just me, right? It's like, these are actual like big time systems that we're talking
There's
about.
big time systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they feed off of us. They feed off of us. This is like, it's kind of wild. So when you actually open up your eyes long enough to get out of survival, to actually see what is happening outside of you, like that's what I'm trying to help moms do. Get out of survival so you can wake up long enough to have like self-inquiry, to challenge, to have self-awareness. And then we can start doing some real work.
Totally. So you've mentioned the term self-forsaking in motherhood in your work. Can you just walk us through what that looks like, what that means?
So basically, when I talk about self-forsaking in motherhood, I'm not just talking about like skipping a meal or not getting to shower, although those things are very real too and they happen quite often. I'm more talking about the slow, quiet erosion of ourself that starts to wither away. And it actually happens way, way before motherhood. It happens way before motherhood. Bit by bit, we start abandoning who we are in order to be who we think we need to be or who others want us to be. So most of us don't even notice that this is happening or that we're even doing it. But over time, we start to shift away from our core self or our true self or our real self, our voice, our needs, our truth, our desires. And then we begin performing a version of us. And we start performing that version because we feel like it's safer. We feel like it's more acceptable. We feel that we'll connect to other people if we're more pleasing or palatable. What's that word? Palatable. Yeah. And a lot of the times this starts so early, like right in childhood, right? We begin to be told things like, oh, you're too much, you're too sensitive, you're too loud, you're too opinionated. And instead of learning that those parts of us are actually really powerful, we learn to shut them down. Not on purpose. It's just like what our nervous system learns to do to keep us close to people. It's very adaptive. But then you fast forward to motherhood, and then suddenly there's another pressure. There's this like, and it devours all the other ones, right? It becomes this ideal mom, the perfect nurturer who's endlessly calm and selfless. So it just fuels that fire. So we just basically start again. We perform. We orbit around everybody else's needs. We're organizing, we're managing, we're anticipating, but it's not in our own truth. It's not in our own desires. We're just spinning around and around and around and around. And it goes on for quite some time for some people, other people not so much, because you're going to burn out. You're going to collapse, you're going to burn out. And it's not because you're doing too much. It's because you're not living your life authentically. You're living your life on somebody else's script or somebody else's contract, if you want to refer to the contract piece, right? So it's an identity fracture. You become a stranger to yourself. And so I see this. It's so interesting being a therapist because you actually see this happening in real time in other people. So it's not only happening to me. I'm like, oh, it's happening to like everybody, like different stories as in like circumstances, but the same themes are happening over and over and over again. And so I get this advantage of being like, oh, I am actually not the only one. Like this is a collective thing that is happening. And so I just started saying the same themes with women all over. Everybody's mad, they're resentful, they're raging, they're numb, they're disconnected. I should be happy. I'm not. And so that's what kind of led me to this framework. I call it the orbit of self-forsaking. And like, I won't go too deep into that, but it's a way to map how we've lost our sense of self over time.
Yeah, that's really
That's a
interesting.
big mouthful.
No, I mean, I asked.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I just want to share in my own life. I feel like I've come out the other side of this quite a bit in the last year, and it's something I've talked about here. I separated from my kid's dad about a year ago as we're recording this. And there's been like a lot of therapy and growth that has come from that. We were together our whole 20s.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like, you know, a lot of identity things in there that just happened because of that. And then also having kids and like everything you're talking about, right? Yeah. But I've been doing a lot of work and I'm really involved in these kinds of conversations. I am going to therapy, prioritizing myself in a lot of ways. And the way that I have been able to experience joy in the last year. Like, I remember thinking at times, like, I'm having fun, but like, is this it? Like, is
Mm-hmm.
this what we're getting to? And I want to share that because I think sometimes when we're in that too, it's like hard to even know what should be. I don't want to use the word normal because it's not like this isn't a normal experience, but it's like,
Yeah.
what should our baseline for experiencing joy be?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even like know what that is when you're in it. And so it's been interesting kind of coming to the other side of that experience and being like, whoa, this is like the deep feelings of like feeling all the things that I couldn't really do when I was so just like packed down by everything else that you
Right.
just explained. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that's huge. And like, yeah, obviously you've done so much work. And I think that that's like, I love finding the women who are doing the work and who are
Mm-hmm.
evolving and moving forward. Like, yes, we are allowed to be in a state of stuckness and we can feel like we are collapsing and we are disconnected. But I'm really attracted to the women who are like, no, I don't deserve this. Like, I deserve better. I know that there's something better out there for me. And like, who are propelled in that direction. I am very, and that's what I want to be, a magnet for other
Yeah.
women. Like, I've done it. I've been there in the trenches. You've been there too. There's lots of women who've been there and we've
Yeah.
found the other side. And not to say that it's easy, it's not, but when we're stuck in survival mode, you're right, we lose sight of what joy actually is or what it even feels like. And if even it's safe, even if it's safe enough to experience joy sometimes, because sometimes it's not like we're scary. It's like, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's joy doesn't have to be fireworks though either. Like you can just experience okayness or neutral, like a neutral state. And like that's
Yes.
usually the first place that we have to go before joy. But yeah, sometimes things can just be okay or neutral. Like it doesn't have to be chaotic. It doesn't have to be all the way like chaotic and it doesn't have to be all the way as shut down. Like there's a neutral state in there.
Totally. I think that neutrality has been really important for me to learn. Like,
Yes.
it's like my baseline is just, I think, probably neutral. And I feel like before
Yeah.
it wasn't. And
Yes.
it's like just being able to exist where, like, just my baseline of being isn't dragging me down.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
I
whoa.
know. I know. I know. And it's sometimes like you don't even have words for it. Like people are
Yeah.
like, oh, like yeah, it's just like you don't have words to express what you're going through. You're like, I don't know, you just gotta live it. You gotta figure it out. You gotta go through the motions and you'll get there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like, how do women begin to return to themselves? Like, what are your kind of views on that? You said something about even like mapping back with, remind me what you said, the orbit of,
Yeah, the orbit of self-forsaking. So like just like kind of going back to like those basically I call it in my orbit of self-forsaking, I call it the
yeah.
original split. So it's the
Okay.
moment where we first started disappearing to the world, or we learned we had to start disappearing to the world. Honestly, like when I'm gonna answer this question, I'm gonna tread very lightly when I answer this
Okay.
question because of where I'm at right now in my life. And so the way I would have answered this question very differently 5 years ago. But now I'm like, okay, there's actually not one answer to this question of like, how do women return to themselves? The way that you return to yourself and the way that I returned to myself are going to look completely different. There is no 5-step roadmap. There is no checklist. There is no formula. And there is no quick fix. There are tons of ways. There's many ways. There's lots of ways that you can return to yourself. But this is not linear work. This journey is so like tender. It is very
Mm-hmm.
creative. It is very personal and it's very messy at times too. And so I know everybody, like people who are in survival mode, want clarity. They want answers. They want steps. They don't like the way they're feeling and they need something fast. So they're like, Vanessa, like, how did you do it? And even though I've done the work, like I've genuinely done it and I've walked through the fire and I'm mostly on the other side, I still find it really hard to say to people, like, this is what you should do. Like, and not because I didn't do anything. I did lots of things, but because it didn't happen in like this perfect, like tidy order, it just like really unfolded and it emerged and it happened one small thing at a time. And just like you, I did therapy. I did a lot of embodiment work. I found a community. I found support. I grieved. I screamed. I let go of who I thought I had to be. And I still am doing that actively. But it wasn't a thing. It was 1,000 tiny things that I had to choose every single day. And it was a very slow unlearning. And the fact that we want steps because people want, they want like,
Yes.
they want the steps, right? Just tell me what I need to do. That's what I'm trying to work against right now is like, that's the performance mindset, guys. Like, that's the performance mindset. that's what this corporate motherhood taught us. That's what I was trying to say in the beginning of our conversation is like, that's what they want you to believe, is that if you have the steps or you have the thing, if you could find the thing, that you'll be able to hustle hard enough, heal fast enough, check enough boxes, and you'll get where you want to be. That's how it works. It's not how returning to your soul, like yourself, works. And like, yeah, I just like what I mentioned earlier, you have to get out of survival mode long enough first to actually see what's happening, because this isn't personal, it's systemic, it's cultural. You've been living inside an invisible ideology, and you're told your worth is your output. And so until you can see that, you can't do anything else.
I'm like, damn, that was
Yeah.
that was good.
So So if there's a step, I mean, if there is a step one, the first step is just like pause. We gotta wake up. We gotta wake up to the fact that you're not broken. The system is broken. And when you can wake up, that's when you get access to curiosity, to self-awareness, to choice. And from there, then the process can be unique to you.
Totally. Right at the beginning of that, you said it's creative. And then you went into kind of exploring like the different things it might look like. Not even things, it's like the feelings that you kind of need to have along the way. And that's something I've been really interested in over the last couple of years, is like the tie between creativity and motherhood. And I think it speaks to exactly what you're talking about, of this like corporate motherhood of like, it's kind of
it's the opposite,
rigid and you're supposed to be doing it a certain way. And it's like, but we are all living these unique lives, and the split that you talk about, like it's probably very different for each of us, like depending on what your childhood was like and who your parents were and what your relationships have been like and all these things. It's like when you say it like that, it's like obviously there's not one way to like heal it all.
Yes. And it's funny because there is like, I don't know where it is on my Instagram, but now you've made me think. There was one post that I did so long ago, like when I just started my account. And I talked about how motherhood was like, it was a creative act. Every day we're learning and unlearning and like creating something new and like asking questions and experimenting and like shifting and evolving and moving. Like, yeah, like if there's another way to do motherhood, and that is what I want to share more of. And that's kind of what I'm walking into now, is this whole other realm that we know nothing about, or that we don't have enough access to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very powerful way to think of it. And it is so antithetical to this version of motherhood that we were all sold.
Yeah.
So I would love to just ask you what's next for you in this work, because you're doing big things. This is like important stuff you're putting out there.
Yeah, so this is gonna like link into the last question that you asked me. And so I love this question, and it's also funny timing because I just did an intuitive reading recently, and it was really cool, and it kind of reflected exactly where I am right now. And the answer to that question, and the reason why I'm so excited to say this, is because I've never said this before in my life, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And it doesn't come from a place of confusion or chaos. It comes with confidence of like, I'm in the in-between right now. I'm like in this like liminal space between who I was like for 30 years of my life, trying to like rush, trying to figure things out, trying to optimize myself, working 3 jobs and going to get my master's at one time. Like I have always been that girl, right? I've always been a hustler. I've always been a pusher. I've always been a doer. I've always optimized everything that I put my hands on. And that I love that version of me. I love her so much because she got me here. She got me to this point. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be in this space. And I'm going to keep her close, but she's not going to be in the driver's seat anymore. So when you ask that question, I love that question because for the first time in my life, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I might want to even cry right now. Just like slowness, like ease. Like I'm still releasing a lot of who I was, and I'm still learning and receiving, and I'm living a different rhythm than I have ever before in my entire life. And it's less about proving and more about being pulled. You can see I'm getting teary-eyed.
Me too.
Yes, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And yeah, it's more about being pulled by vision and not fear. There's not going to be a missed opportunity for me when I'm doing what I love, what I sincerely love to do. And it's coming from a place of being grounded and loving. And so, yeah, I don't have a shiny statement to say where I'm going. I just know that whatever happens next, it's going to come from alignment, and it's going to come from truth, and it's not going to come from urgency, because that's where it's always came from for the last 30 years. And yeah, so I think that's more important for me now than any plan, which is very strange for me to say. And it's like a part of me is like a breath of fresh air saying that.
Well, when you said it, I got like full body chills and like felt it for myself too. And obviously everyone listening probably is in different places in their life, but
Mhm.
if that hit you like a ton of bricks too, like awesome. Because that, I mean, I think just to admit that, like it's almost like an
Mhm.
admission of like, I'm just letting it be and like letting life take me. And I feel like that is such a relevant thing in my life, is like for the very
Mm.
first time, I'm not just following what I thought was the roadmap of life.
Yeah.
And it is scary, but like it's doing it without the fear
True.
of, I have a tattoo actually that says without fear. I can't really read it.
Oh, I
It's
love
in
that.
like a script, but it's been a nice like
Yes.
reminder that just like the fear will control us. And it has. Like
It
I think for
is.
most of us that
Yeah.
is how we got to exactly where we are. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a bad thing that that's
No,
happened, but like
no.
yeah.
Our identity is wrapped around our roles. And when
Yeah.
our worth and our identity is wrapped around our roles, letting go of that, of course, is going to feel frightening because you don't know where to land. Like you don't know, like you've been grasping, you've built your whole life on this foundation and now you're telling me to go do something else. Like you're telling me to like, I don't know, go with the flow or just like trust or like just exist or be like what? I don't even know what that means. And I was in that space too, but it came naturally over time of like, it's safe to be here. It's safe enough for me to be in this place right now and not have a plan. I'm okay.
Well, I just want to say how proud I am of you, just as like
Thank
somebody
you.
hearing you say that. It's like so exciting to hear a woman embrace that, like, I don't know. And that's scary and amazing.
Scary and amazing. I love that. Yep, it's both. And I
It's
feel that
totally
very
both.
much.
Yeah.
There's like a confidence to it, but it's also like, oh shoot, what if this what if it doesn't go the way that you anticipate? But I'm trusting.
Well, and you know what? I think we've all learned too that like you can be as prepared, like just wrapping back to the beginning of this conversation, you can be as
Yes.
prepared as you
Yeah.
thought you should be. Like you've done all the work for anything in life, for a
Mhm.
career, for motherhood, for marriage, for just like being this perfect person. And it
Yeah.
still doesn't go the way that you thought it would or
Yeah.
expected it to. And so it's like kind of I don't want to say throwing the caution to the wind, but like just taking risks can
I
be,
love that.
you could get better
There's a
results too.
there's a quote you just reminded me. I listened to this podcast and I wrote down this quote and beautifully like
Ooh,
what you're
share.
saying right now. It's like,
Yeah.
how lucky am I that things didn't work out the way I thought they would? Right.
Oh,
So I'll read it again. How lucky am I that things didn't work out the way I thought they would? And I was just like,
that hits. That's a good one.
mm-hmm. Isn't that a good one?
That
I
is a
love it.
really good one. Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like full body chills, just like, I'm like lucky I get to have these conversations and we get to
Yes,
share it
isn't
with
that
everybody.
great?
It's amazing. It's the best work.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
So, as we wrap up the conversation, something that I love to ask every guest on the show, because I am a huge proponent of taking care of ourselves and making that the
Mm-hmm.
norm, is how do
Yeah.
you take care of yourself? And do you have any tips for other moms to make sure that they are also taking care of themselves regularly in the chaos that is motherhood?
Yeah. Great question. So I'm going to start by how I kind of started this conversation as well as like, I do not have it all figured out. I am not somebody who has like daily rituals that I do. I don't have a color coded calendar, like appointments that I get to every single week consistently. I don't have a perfect morning routine or bedtime routine or anything like that. There's lots of days where I forget to feed myself, to drink water, or I'm drinking coffee more than I'm drinking water, which I'm probably doing that today, and that's okay. And so sometimes I scroll too much and I do things, whatever. I don't get it right all the time. But what I do have is what I call markers. And so they're not rituals, they're a little bit different than rituals, but markers, I guess anchors, we could call them, that I know I can return to. And I think that that's the real self care. It's not perfection. It's knowing how to find your way back when you've drifted off. So movement for me is huge, but it's the first thing that always goes when I get stressed out for some reason. But I know how much better I feel when I do move my body. So that is a marker. I know how to get back to that when I've fallen off. It's there. It's always going to be there. Music is another one for me. Like if I put on a song, I know that's a marker. Like music is always my way back to myself. I love it. I can feel something. It shifts something in me immediately. I've learned to feel my feelings in real time, which a lot of people have a hard time doing. That is newer for me. I used to backlog all of my feelings. Like I wouldn't have time to feel. Like, I don't have time to do this right now. Like, there's too much going on. I need to push that down. Like, just, I'll take care of it later. Well, I never took care of it later. And then so it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. So now I feel like I try to feel as much as I can, like in real time. Like if I want to rage or if I have grief or I have joy or boredom, I'm comfortable with all my emotions. I'm comfortable with exposing my emotions and letting people see them. I doesn't scare me. Is it exhausting? Absolutely. But it's better than getting stuck in it for like years, right? Connection has been another big thing for me. Yeah. So I guess like my tip is like, don't focus on like doing it right or doing it consistently. Just focus on coming back to your markers, right? Self-care isn't about checking the boxes. It's about knowing what brings you home to yourself and making space to return to those things whenever you can, whenever you're ready, because life is going to throw curveballs. You are going to fall off track. There's going to be something that, the other shoe is going to probably drop at some point. That's guaranteed. That's one thing that I know for certain. But the work isn't in avoiding those moments. It's just knowing that you can move through them and knowing that you can come back to yourself when it happens.
I love all of that. And I mean, there's just so many little things in there that I'm like, oh yes, that is like a good way to get back to yourself. And so I think there are some of those more concrete things that somebody may hear and be like, oh yeah, you know what? I do actually really love listening to music that makes me cry. I mean, that I know for me, I'm like, I've got my like Taylor Swift songs that I can listen to that I can scream in the car to, and then like ugly snot cry, and then also the ones where I feel like so empowered and
like invigorated. Yes.
But there's so many little things in life that do like give us those little feelings of like, this is who I am.
This feels like me. Yeah.
And it's easy to forget that. It's easy to forget that there are these little, I mean, listening to music, you could do it when you're doing the dishes. It's not like it has to be some extra thing in your life. So
exactly. Yeah.
I love that reminder.
Yeah.
Vanessa, how can listeners find you and just learn more about everything you're doing and watch your great things on social media?
So like, I mean, the best place to find me is on social media. It's on Instagram. I guess that's where I share most of my life and my unfiltered reflections on whatever it is that I'm going through whenever. So that's at Vanessa Spinarsky. I am really active on there. And then there's the Mama Healing Hub. So it is, like I said, a co-founded, therapist-led virtual community. I do that with 2 other therapists. We offer live weekly support, and we do like a rotating of topics. So we have like hour drop-ins every week. We talk about rage, we talk about the mental load, we talk about relationships, we talk about nervous system healing, grief boundaries. We literally talk about it all. And then it's cool because you get education and then you get real life connection with other moms who are showing up and saying, me too, like in the space. And it feels really safe and it's supportive. It's off of social media. We have our own secure little network. And so it's really beautiful. It's evolving very nicely. So I think there's going to be a shift in my content, and I'm kind of scared because it comes with a little bit of nervousness because I've spent a lot of time in the depths of, I don't know, victimization, postpartum, survival mode, like control. And I think I'll always hold a place for those who are there. And I know that version of me very well. She's never going to leave. That feeling is never going to leave. She's always going to be part of me, but I don't fully identify with that version of me anymore. And it's so hard to show up on social media, like being a version of me that I'm not anymore. Like I've evolved and I'm in a new era and like, I'm trying to figure out how to move with ease and to create a sense of like, I don't know, truth and possibility. So I don't know. I don't know what that means yet. If you follow along, you might see a shift. It might be less about survival, more about expansion, but I know, needless to say, it'll always be honest and it'll be real. And if I am going through something, you'll know, that's for sure. You're never going to get a polished version of me. But yeah, that's kind of where you can find me.
Amazing. I'm excited to kind of just watch that transition.
Yeah, I don't know what that looks like yet. It's so scary because, it's going to probably come with a loss of followers because people identified with the struggle, right? And it's like, you just got to let it go. Gotta let it go. It's not what I'm there for.
Plenty of people who need
something
what you
else.
Put out next.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Amazing. Vanessa, this has been just an incredible conversation. I love when I have these conversations and I just am like, oh, I needed that today.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I love, like you, I also love having these like real and honest conversations with the moms. And I'm so grateful that we get to go to the depths of these conversations and have a platform and a space to be able to do that. I definitely don't take it lightly when someone does give me a space to like share and talk. I love it. So thank you so, so much for that.
Yes. And thank you, as always, for tuning in. You are worthy, Mama.